want to know what it is. The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
The Matrix is everywhere. It's a prison that we cannot smell or taste or touch. It's a prison for our minds. Good afternoon, my name is Zangaglia. I'm so excited to be here today, and I think that backflip from The Matrix, it's super intense, and I think it really can represent a great part of what it looks like in each of our lives to achieve greatness, to strive to be our personal best, and in each of our individual lives, become who we want to be. So we'll talk a little bit more about The Matrix a little bit later. But before I get into this talk, I was thinking about what makes me unique. What gives me any credibility to come up here and speak? So I was able to think about a couple of things. The first thing is that I work at Krispy Kreme. I love my job. I can sell donuts all day. I get free donuts at work. Like, it's the best thing ever. The second thing about me is that I run a nonprofit organization called the Hope Festival. Through the Hope Festival, some high school friends and I work to serve more than 1,500 low-income and in-need individuals every single year. We run an event that provides in-need individuals with everything from clothes to food to hygiene supplies to free services like haircuts and massages. We're able to connect people with resources like organizations and agencies that can help them year-round. And overall, we recruit more than 250 high school kids to help us give these individuals just a day of hope and energy. It's an incredibly rewarding experience, an incredibly rewarding thing to do. I'm so lucky to have it as part of my life. I was thinking about how can I take these experiences and these stories and tie everything together into a nice talk. I was thinking, well, donuts, of course. I mean, how else? So today, this donut is going to represent us and our journey to greatness. Our journey to becoming our personal best and achieving who we want to be. So when you think about a donut, you've got three parts. You've got the very top part, which is the glaze, the icing, the sugar on top. You have the middle, which is the dough. And then on the very inside, you have the filling, the icing, like the jelly, the cream on the inside, the best part. So let's start out with the icing. I think for today, when we consider this donut, the icing is going to represent vulnerability. When I think about vulnerability, I think about the quote, "We are not who we choose to be." In our lives, stereotypes and perceptions from society define who we are. I think that a great example of this can be seen through those that we serve at the Hope Festival. The people that we serve are experiencing poverty, experiencing homelessness, and they're more than aware of how they're perceived by the majority of the outside people. They are often perceived as lazy, as helpless, as just not caring about their lives. And while I've been able to see firsthand that that's so incorrect, that being in poverty and being homeless is extremely difficult, that's really hard to live that way. And that's where I think vulnerability comes into play. Vulnerability, I think, is very freeing when we're able to accept it. And vulnerability gives us a choice. We can either accept who we are and embrace that and become free, or we can change for the better, accept our flaws and work on self-improvement and be free that way. I think that's incredibly empowering when we're able to do that. When I think about a time in my life when I was most vulnerable, I think of being a kid. Think about like elementary school. Like those were the prime years of our life, right? Like we were able to go outside, we had recess, like school is just the most fun thing ever. I think that was an incredibly freeing time. That's because we just didn't care about, for the most part, however people viewed us. I think it's important that we maybe embrace that inner child within us and bring more of that out. Something else that I think vulnerability relates to is during hard times. A lot of the time, we think about, when we get caught in the moment, we think about how society, how other people, how our friends will view our choices and our actions. But in reality, it's up to us. We are who we are, and we're able to change that. And vulnerability is accepting the fact that we are able to achieve our best selves if we just believe in it. Up next, when we think about the donut, we think about the dough. That's in between that thin layer of glaze and the best part on the inside that you're still trying to get to, which is the filling. And I think the dough represents a gap in each of our lives. A gap between what we believe, our internal selves, and how we act, our external selves. When I think about a time in my life when I first felt this gap, I think about a time when I was like 7 or 8 and I was obsessed with Mario Kart. Mario Kart was like the best Wii game of all time, right? For some reason, I was obsessed with the idea of seeing visible progress, seeing achievement, seeing things take place in my life, seeing that I was being meaningful. And for me at that time, it took place through Mario Kart. I was able to see every time I played, me achieving simple things, me making progress within the game. And I think today that relates to our purpose. When we consider our internal beliefs, it's our belief system, it's our foundation. It's everything that makes us us. And there are certain things that we need to find that will anchor our internal beliefs so that we can then act on how we believe. I can think about a couple stories through my service with the Hope Festival where we've met people who have been in a struggle of trying to bridge that internal-external gap. I met one woman a couple years ago at an event when we were serving people, and she had just beautiful hair but down to her knees. And she said, thank you for providing this event where I'm able to get a free haircut. But she said that year-round, she didn't feel like herself. It was the only time during that entire year when she would get a haircut. And she said, this haircut means much more to me than just having my hair up to shoulder length. It means that I'm able to become myself. I'm able to be who I want to be. I feel like myself when I have my hair cut that short. Another time is when we were serving those at a local homeless encampment called Tent City. I was talking to a woman who was talking about a time when before she was homeless, and she had run a graphic design company. And she said that once she lost that, she lost everything that made her her. The reality is that in each of our lives, we have things that anchor our personal beliefs. And it's so important to go after those. It's so important to have those so that we can ground our internal beliefs and ground who we are and then act on those. I think that the last part of the donut in our journey to be great is the filling. The part that you're eating the entire donut for, the best part, it's the inside, that jelly or that cream. And the filling represents intrinsic change in each of our lives. Virginia Satir does a great job about talking about the process of change through this diagram. She starts out with the status quo in that top left corner. She said, this is how you act every day. This is your normal self. This is who you are. And sometimes in our lives, we're faced with times that don't go along with that normalcy. They don't go along with our status quo. They can be called disturbance. And when that happens, we're faced with a choice. We can either return back to who we're comfortable with, to our status quo, or we can make a choice to do something different, to find a new status quo and work towards our newfound self. I think for me, a time in my life that I remember that has really defined me was going into downtown Seattle for the first time as a super little kid. It was the first time that I'd really seen homelessness at its peak. I saw this issue being super prominent, and it was something that I hadn't seen and my home community. And for me, that was a chance to make a choice. I made the choice to do something different, to change my status quo, and to work to become better. I think that this process of change is hard. There's a lot of things that try to stop us. For me, a part that I've been trying to become vulnerable with lately is accepting the fact that I'm like sort of disabled. I cannot snap, roll my R's, roll my tongues, wiggle my ear, like singular tongue, by the way, not multiple tongues. Like I can't do any of those things. Do you realize how embarrassing it is to not be able to snap? Like I just can't do it. It's terrible. Alright, I see how it is. Anyways, I'm faced with a choice. A choice to not take how society views me as being like somewhat less because I can't snap. I'm working to become a better self. So thank you for that. In The Matrix, Morpheus offers Neo a choice. He says you can take that blue pill, blissful ignorance of everything that's happening, putting a nice clean sheet over the struggles that we have in our lives. Or you can take the red pill. The red pill, which represents a journey that might be risky, it might be tough, but we can work to learn the truth. I think that when we're trying to become the best version of ourselves, when we're trying to become great, we have to take that red pill. We have to start with vulnerability and think about who we are as a person and work to change that for the better. We have to find the things that anchor us in our lives, to bridge that internal and external gap. And finally, we have to believe in who we are and start changing from the inside, becoming who we want to be. It's imperative that we take that red pill, and sometimes maybe all you need is a donut. Thank you.